Hello, I'm Trey McPherson. Welcome to Top City Today. With me, I have Melanie Stewart Campbell. She is running for 501 School Board District 3. Welcome, Melanie.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you. What can you tell us about yourself?
Okay, so I'm Melanie, and I have over 25 years experience in education. I'm from Topeka, and I've lived in other places though. So I graduated from KU with a degree in Spanish and French education, and then I moved to New York City where I got my master's degree in applied linguistics, which is teaching English to speakers of other languages. And that's where I first started teaching, was in New York City public schools. And then after 5 years in New York City, I decided, there's a whole world out there. Like, I'm moving on. And so then I moved to South America, to Ecuador, and I got a position teaching English at an international school in Quito. And then I came back to Kansas, and I taught at KU. I taught international students English at KU.
Wow.
Yes, and then I came back to my native Topeka, where I grew up, and I worked at Kansas State Department of Education, and my position there was the English language learner consultant. So I worked with every single school district across Kansas that has students learning English as a second language. And since then, I've held other education-related positions, like I was a teacher trainer at Emporia State University. I was an adjunct instructor at Fort Hays State University, and also at the University of Kansas. I taught at Washburn. I taught international students there. I taught at 501. I was an English language learner teacher at Ross Elementary. And I currently work for Greenbush, it's an educational service center, and I specifically work for the Migrant Education Program, which is a federally funded program. All 50 states have it. And in this capacity, I work with several school districts that have students who qualify for migrant services. And in this role, I'm learning a lot about what other districts are doing, and I'm often seeing these other districts and thinking that 501 is doing that better. And there are some things where I see that Topeka Public Schools 501 could improve upon. So also in several of these positions, my ability to speak Spanish has been extremely useful. In fact, I couldn't do the job I have now if I didn't speak Spanish, because I also work very closely with the families, most of whom are Mexican or Guatemalan. And I left out that I also taught in Brazzaville, Republic of Congo. Wow. So yeah, so my husband's also a teacher. He works in the special education department in Topeka Public Schools. And he and I and our two children went to the Republic of Congo, and we helped set up a school, and we taught there for a while. So, and our children also attend Topeka Public Schools. Our daughter is a 5th grader at Scott Dual Language Magnet, and our son is a 7th grader at Landon Middle School. So, yeah, that's you. That's some about me, yeah.
Having kids in the school system, how do you think that that's going to affect you while you're on the board?
I would be running for school board even if I didn't have children in the school district, because I care so much about public education, as we all need to care so much about public education. Just having my own children in the district just makes me even more motivated, but I'd be running even if they weren't in the district. So.
Well, I'm glad that they're here and you're here, and so that's wonderful. What are the top 3 issues that you want to tackle when you're on the school board?
Yes, okay. Number 1 is our dual language program. So Topeka Public Schools has a dual language program, and it's an excellent program. In fact, has won some awards, like from the Embassy of Spain, so I'm very proud of our dual language program. And both my children are enrolled in the dual language program. However, it's new, right? So, well, we're in like year 7 or 8 now, so newish. When the dual language program is in its secondary, at the secondary level, there needs to be improvement. And so that is one of the main reasons that's one of my main issues in running for school board, is to ensure that our dual language program continues to prosper. It's very secure, it's very established at the elementary level at Scott Dual Language. So, but at secondary, at Landon, and then now into high school at Topeka High, there's growing pains. And I want to ensure that this program continues to thrive and that we truly are graduating students who are not only bilingual, but biliterate, and who are prepared to enter the global marketplace. It is so important that the United States catches up with so many other countries in the world where bilingualism or trilingualism is really valued, because to compete in the thinking of geopolitics, to compete in the global marketplace, and not just for business or marketplace purposes, but for peace, for understanding between cultures. It's really critical that our language abilities rise up and improve as a country.
And on that, the United States is lagging behind in languages because other countries, they speak more languages. Isn't that right?
Yes. So there's a few reasons for it. I believe that the major reason is that the United States is so big, right, and we're just bordered by Canada, English-speaking Canada, except for a couple provinces where there's French dominant. Yeah.
Quebec.
And Quebec, right, and then New Brunswick is officially bilingual. But anyway, so that's our border. Canada, mainly English-speaking, and then ocean, and then Mexico. So I think that many Americans just have not seen the necessity, the value in acquiring another language. Whereas you're in Europe or Asia, and you drive 2 miles, and it's like if we were to drive to Missouri, and then we have to speak a different language now, or Oklahoma. Well, that's how it is in many other parts of the world. So that's the main reason why the United States is very monolingual. And then another reason is because this idea of to be throughout the past generations, older generations believed that to be American, you had to speak English and forget your native language and just assimilate, forget your culture. And now we know that no, you can be American while also maintaining your strong ties to your heritage language and your heritage culture.
What's the second issue that you're looking to deal with?
Yes, so the second is our staff. So our staff is wonderful. We have great educators. I would like to see our educators be a more accurate reflection of our student population. So our student population, it's not exactly 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, but it's close. So with 1/3 white, 1/3 African American, and 1/3 Hispanic. That's not exactly it, I want to reiterate, but it's close. Whereas the majority of our educators are white. So I would like to see a lot more diversity in our educators. And when I say educators, I'm using that word to to be all-inclusive. So not just teachers, but administrators, paraprofessionals, secretary, classified staff, custodians. So the recruitment and retention of more diverse staff. And when I say diverse, I also mean linguistically diverse. And this ties back into the dual language program. So in order to strengthen our dual language program, we need to decrease the turnover. There's very high turnover of teachers in the dual language program. And one of the reasons for that is there is a serious shortage of teachers who can instruct in Spanish. And so the district is recruiting from Spain, and they're wonderful teachers, but they come with visa restrictions, and then they have to go back to Spain. So we need to have some creative ideas on how we can recruit and retain local talent. So, and there is local talent, and I have ideas on how we can do that. So
That's fantastic. What is the third item you are fighting for?
okay, so the third is our district's English language learners. We have an equity issue. So our district's English language learner program is very strong. I'm really proud of it. In fact, in my current position, I tell other districts I work with to call our ELL director, because she's amazing and so many improvements have been done. And we have a very strong program. And so I tell other districts to call 501 to find out what we're doing. So it's very good. But there is an equity issue, and it is this. Not all of our schools provide services, language support services, to the English language learners. Okay, I'm just going to say English learners. And now I'm just going to say ELs, okay? Because that's ELs, means English learners. It means at home, they speak a language other than English.
Right.
So they need extra support services at school to be successful in school with everything like academic. And this is my thing. This is like these 25 years in education. This is and my master's degree. This is what it is. It's the acquisition of a second language. Okay, so, but not every school has these services. So let's say, for example, Trey, no hablas inglés, okay? You don't speak English. So you come to your neighborhood school, it's just a few blocks away, and you really want your kids to attend their neighborhood school. That's where the neighbors go, that's where their friends are. And I say to you, ay, lo siento, pero no tenemos servicios para su hijo. Sorry, we don't have services for your child. But don't worry, your child will get the services that he needs, but he needs to take a bus
All the way across the city.
to a different school where we do have services. And you might say, ay, pero no quiero eso, yo quiero caminar con mi hijo. I don't want that, I want to walk to school with my child. Quiero que él esté con nuestros vecinos. I want him to be with our neighbors. And then I say, well, if you want to do that, then you need to sign this paper opting him out of services. So you'll be like, well, oh boy, what do I do? Does he get those language support services he needs, or do I get to walk him to school and he goes to school with the neighbors? And then also maybe you don't really understand, like, what does that even mean, these language support services? So we often see parents signing their child out of the services that they really, really need so they can attend their neighborhood school. And that's not okay, especially in the Brown v. Board District. You can't attend your neighborhood school. We don't have services for you. So it's, so that definitely needs to change.
It's very close to home.
Yes, it pains me to think of children being told you can't receive the services you need. So unless you take a bus and go to a different school. So every school needs to provide the support services that child is entitled to. And See, this would never happen like nor should it. This would never happen like with a student with an IEP, like who needs special education services. It's like, oh, sorry, your kid's going to have to go. That would not happen. But the reason it happens with our EL families is because the parents don't know what their rights are, and it's not that the district is trying to not provide them services. That's not it at all. It's just there's just not enough of a voice.
Yeah, there's resource management and those types of things.
Yes. So I want to be that voice for these parents to ensure that all schools offer language support services for these kids who need it.
And for those of you that don't know, IEP, IEP stands for Individualized Education Program. So I was in one myself when I was younger, and I ended up having to be signed out of that kind of program. So I'm fully understanding of the process of, students needing particular individualized care, and we're finding across a lot of members of the running for school board that they're also about more individualized learning where we can fit that in. So I want to ask, for these schools that provide the services, how many are those in the city? What are we looking at? Where's the disparity at? Is there areas where that improvement, like you'd want to bring that to?
Right. So to my knowledge, there are 2 elementary schools that don't provide EL services. So there might be more, I'm not sure, but I know for sure there are 2 that don't. And middle school, I think there's 1 that doesn't. And now all 3 high schools do.
Okay.
So Topeka West did not until the past few years, but now Topeka West is providing services too. So we're good at the high school level. Yeah,
It's just that intermediary portion.
Yeah.
And so that's really kind of a really important step, because that's the adolescence phase. And so, a lot of formation happens during that point. And if you're not able to, if you're in an environment where maybe you're not feeling safe or connected with the people around you, maybe you're not getting the best education you possibly could.
Right.
So that's totally understandable why you're wanting to do these things.
Yes.
Another question that we've been posing to candidates is about safety in schools. We've had a lot of talk very recently in the public sphere about, what kind of measures we're looking at, whether it's gun safety, whether that's bullying, whether that's just regular mental health type services. What is your stances on that, or do you have anything that you think that maybe needs improvement?
Okay, well, first of all, the idea of arming teachers is horrible, and it's a horrible idea. So I really hope that never, ever, ever happens, because some people think that's a good idea. Okay, so starting with that. 2, I feel like our district is already doing a pretty good job of keeping our schools safe. I mean, I know as a teacher, I have to buzz in, I have to go through the office, just thinking like if there was an intruder, that intruder's gonna have a hard time, a very hard time, because you gotta buzz in, there's a camera, we've got amazing secretaries, like they're on it, who is that person, and you have to go through the office, and you have to sign in, and you have to state what your purpose is. So I feel like the district is already superior in that way. So, okay, that, and then also mental health. So in that vein, I was talking about if there were to be an intruder, that intruder would have a really hard time. So, okay, but if it was a student, right, who was in the building and wanted to harm other students, so then we really have to get to the cause of the symptom. And so this brings us to mental health. So I can say that what I've seen, just like with my children's school, I see the counselors doing a lot with anti-bullying and letting kids know that it's safe to talk about being scared of another student or to feel comfortable going to them, or a teacher, if they're, like my daughter felt she was getting bullied last year. She felt very comfortable telling her teacher, telling the counselor. So, and then they acted very quickly to respond to that. And then that bullying situation stopped immediately. So I think there's a lot of good stuff already going on, good interventions. So, but we could go deeper, and just another thing is ACEs, Adverse Childhood Effect Syndrome.
Okay.
And this is very, very real. So kids who have experienced chronic trauma, and that trauma could just be, a neglect at home, not knowing if dinner's going to be available, is someone going to come home and be really grumpy or abusive. So when that happens regularly, it changes your brain chemistry, and it changes how we learn. And educators need more training on how to best respond to a student with a high ACEs score, we'd say. So in fact, this is interesting. So the new Surgeon General of California, she is calling for all public school students in California to be tested on ACEs, Adverse Childhood Effect Syndrome. And it doesn't take long at all to take the test. Like I've taken it a few times. It's like 2 minutes. And then, so then we know what students have a higher score, meaning that how we respond to them as educators needs to be different than how we would respond to a child who hasn't had that chronic trauma in their upbringing. So that's mental health, right? So I think the students who might be more tempted to be like violent and harm others in school is because of like their background and their mental health issues. So more training for educators, but every year. So like I myself had the training a few years ago, and I'm really not sure if the training is still going on, but it needs to be every year because there's always staff turnover. People retire, new teachers are hired. So
Melanie, we've talked a lot already about bilingualism.
yes.
Right? You've mentioned, the needs of students who will speak more than one language. So obviously it's very important to you. What makes that matter so much for you, and what would cause everyone else to understand that it's important?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked me that, Trey. Okay, the benefits of bilingualism are enormous. They are tremendous. So the cognitive benefits, so the brain benefits of bilingualism are many. It increases our ability to problem solve, it increases our ability to think creatively, to just understand our world better around us. The short answer is it makes us smarter. It makes us smarter. There's been lots of research done on how the bilingual brain is less likely to get Alzheimer's and dementia.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So, and how it increases overall executive function of the brain, which means like ability to problem solving. So it makes us smarter. So those are the cognitive benefits. The social benefits are, okay, socially we have a better concept of positive self-concept, the bilingual person does. 2, it increases the positive interactions between other cultures. And in the 21st century, throughout time, we need this so badly for cultures to understand each other better, to be more open to each other, to be open to like differences, different religions, different customs. So socially, a bilingual education increases that skill. And the third is economically.
Oh.
So this is big. Yes. In the past 5 years, the need for employers have been seeking more and more bilingual employees. So in the past 5 years, it's more than doubled. I was reading recently how it's more than doubled employers who are seeking bilingual employees. So there's that. And fun fact, did you know that 64% of executives in the
Leading
business
companies?
world, yes, in companies are bilingual?
Okay.
Yes, at least bilingual or trilingual. So, yeah.
And that makes sense because they're operating across national lines, you know?
Yes,
That makes sense.
Yes. So if you've got two candidates and they're equally qualified, but one is bilingual and one's not, you're gonna pick the bilingual person. So this is why I'm very passionate about our dual language program and Topeka Public Schools graduating students who are truly bilingual and biliterate. They're going to have so much more access to better jobs, to travel, to understanding the world around them better. So, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yes. But we need to find ways to keep our bilingual staff or to recruit more staff who are going to be able to stay. And one way to do that is with addendums. And so this is something I would really like to see. And all teachers, I cannot stress this enough, our teachers and certified and classified work so hard. Like everyone should get all teachers should get a teacher discount, like everywhere they go. You know, like how military do. Yeah, I mean, our educators are heroes, and they need to be compensated, and they all work very hard. Our teachers in the dual language program have an extra workload that our teachers who instruct only in English do not have. So sometimes they have to be translating curriculum, tests. They have to, they all need the same test as the English class, so that they need to go and translate the test. They're often called for translating, interpreting. There's more work. And so I feel certain that we'll be able to retain our bilingual staff better if we're able to provide them a fair compensation. So when I say addendum, that just means like it's extra. It's extra money.
That's the school board language for saying, you know, here's what we're going to compensate the teachers.
Yeah.
So you're looking for.
We're going to pay you extra. We're going to pay you extra for this skill that you are bringing to our district. And same goes for our bilingual paraprofessionals, our assistant teachers. So there's an equity issue. They aren't getting paid as much as some of our other paraprofessionals who are wonderful, who are working very hard. Yet our bilingual staff are bringing that very important talent of being bilingual. They're the liaison between the families and the school, and they're often translating and interpreting and being pulled in 1,000 directions, but they're not getting paid the same as some of the paraprofessionals in other fields. And I'd like to see that changed.
Well, Melanie, thank you very much for coming on our program today.
Thank you
It's been a
very much
pleasure
for
and an
having me.
education
Yes.
on all of these issues. It's refreshing to have something that I've not been as informed about as in other areas. So it's a pleasure to have you here, and it's a pleasure to have you watching our program today. This program, we have more like them. You can see here on our Facebook page several other candidates for school board. Don't forget to like and share this video with your friends and family. And for Top City Today, I'm Trey McPherson. Goodbye for now. Hello, I'm Trey McPherson. Welcome to Top City Today. Here with me, we have Melanie Stewart Campbell, who's running for 501 Topeka School District number 3. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Trey.
Thank you. Tell us about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Melanie Stewart Campbell, and I'm very excited to be running for school board. I have 2 children in the district, a son in middle school, a daughter in elementary school, and I have over 25 years experience in education in many different roles, like too many to list, but I've been a teacher in our district. I've been a teacher in New York City, in Ecuador, in the Republic of Congo. I've worked at the Kansas State Department of Education. I've worked at universities as a teacher trainer. So I feel like I have a very broad angle of education. So I currently work for the Migrant Education Program at an educational service center. So I'm in lots of different school districts.
Thank you very much for that. What are the top 3 items that you're wanting to focus on when you're on the school board?
Okay, number 1 would be to ensure that our awesome dual language program continues to prosper. So especially in the secondary years, because it's still relatively new. So it's in some growing pains in the secondary years. And so I just want to ensure that the curriculum is very rigorous and that our school district is graduating bilingual and biliterate students who are prepared for the 21st century, for our global economy. So, and then with that, so this is going to lead me into number 2. So in order for the dual language program to continue to be amazing, we're going to need to be better at recruiting and retaining instructors who can teach in Spanish. So I have some ideas how we can do that. And my third issue, I care about all students. I just want to make that very clear. Of course I do. I want success for all students, and I want all teachers. I want an optimal learning environment for all students and an optimal teaching environment and working environment for all staff. The teachers, administrators, paraprofessionals, custodians, secretaries, IT people, I mean, everybody. So I want to make that clear. But my third issue is the instruction of our English language learners, which we are now referring to as English learners or ELs, that they have access to the instructional support, to the language support services, because they need extra help because they're not hearing English at home. So, which is good. We want them to be bilingual, okay, but they need extra help at school. And so I want to ensure that they have equal access at all of our schools to get those services that they need.
All right. And what makes bilingualism so important to you and important for the students?
Oh, Trey, I'm so glad you asked that. Yeah, bilingualism has so many benefits. So the brain benefits of bilingualism, first of all, are huge. There's so much to say about it, but basically, you're using more of your brain. You're basically smarter. So, yeah, that sums it up, because you're just using more of your brain. And there's also been studies done on the benefits, the cognitive benefits for executive function, so like ability to solve problems, to think creatively, and also, this is very interesting, studies done on how the bilingual brain is less likely to develop Alzheimer's or dementia. So cognitive benefits. 2, social benefits. So the students, bilingual students, they are better off socially. They're able to interact better with people from different cultures, and that's an enormous benefit. And the third is economic. So 1/3 of businesses surveyed today are seeking bilingual employees. And sometimes you make more money for that added talent of being bilingual. So, or people will move to a city, think of Topeka. People will move to a city that's going to offer a program like, wow, my kid could be schooled bilingually. That's one of the main reasons that my husband and I chose Topeka Public Schools to enroll our children, is that, and I want other kids to be bilingual and biliterate.
Well, Melanie, thank you very much for coming on our program
Thank-
today. It's been a pleasure. We've learned a lot. And thank you for joining Top City today. There is a longer episode or a longer interview with Melanie about her thoughts on being on school board and what she's advocating for. And so you can find that here on our Facebook page. Don't forget to like and share this video with your friends and family. And until next time, I'm Trey McPherson for Top City Today. Goodbye for now.